Catch the Torah wave. Hey, folks, welcome to another episode live from Jerusalem with Rabbi Chaim Goldberg and the Genesis class. We've been learning so much through this class over the years. And as always, we're joined by many people in the Zoom room from all around the planet. It's such a joy to meet once a week and hear the light of Torah coming out of the nation of Israel. Let's just jump right in and see how Rabbi Goldberg's doing tonight. Rabbi Goldberg, you're live on the air. So good to see you, sir, and we look forward to hearing the Torah.
Good evening, everybody from Israel. Hope everything is fine with all of you. By us, things are going well. We had a very big week last week, but fine. Everything is fine. And now we are continuing on with the learning of Genesis. I want to start with a small, you don't need to answer me now, but it's some sort of we are learning for a very long time. And you know that one of the principles that I'm bringing, that I'm teaching here, is that we have a triangle of relationships between man and God, man and himself, and man with his fellow man. When we're speaking about man and himself, it's more also the relationship inside the family between husband and wife and husband, two spouses, what we say. Now, what I want to say, or the quiz that I'm putting here, and you can send me email back and things like that. In Genesis, we find, we can summarize all of Genesis in those three principles. There's a story between man and God. There's also a story from the beginning to the end between man and his fellow man. And there's a story from the beginning to the end between man and himself. So I'm not going to give an answer now, something that you can think about. You all know Genesis, and we will do for this also. I'm giving you a few days to think about this idea. You can send me emails, things like that, and we will do also a summarize of all Genesis, so you will have it in one hand, but with those triangle of relationships between all of us. So this is something I'm opening with, something to think about.
Beautiful.
Slovi, good to see you. Long time no see. Straight ahead. Good to see you. Do you understand English or only German? Just joking.
Shalom.
Fine. Shalom. Okay, so we came to chapter 18. And let's learn a bit. Let's go inside straight ahead to everything. Shalom to everybody, all of those who are inside. I will share the screen. Come on. I prepared everything. Now, you can see, right? Yay. We are in Genesis chapter 18. Now, we need to realize that we are starting here a new, I will say, a new era. Till now, we had only Abraham in this world. Abraham is the first father of the Hebrew nation. He is the last Hebrew person that we have here. He is the one who stayed here, okay, I will say, from a very big community of Hebrew people, very big nation of Hebrew people. We have also, by the way, if you will go and search a bit on the internet, you will find that the archaeologists, they found in Syria a few things, very ancient things that are reminding and stating about this nation of the Hebrew people. We know that Abraham was the last one who stayed as a Hebrew person. We saw that 4 chapters earlier when there was the big fight between the 4 kings and the 5 kings. So we have that the refugee from this fight came to Abraham, the Hebrew Abraham. Okay, this is how it's written down in the Bible in chapter 14. So till now, we had Abraham, who is the last one from the Hebrew people, but he is working with a system, with a knowledge, what we call of mercy, of giving kindness. He is saying basically, God is giving us life, and for this, this is something that God is giving without any questioning. He's giving always. And from this chapter, we're starting to speak also about a new Gentile that is coming here, okay? The son of Abraham, but not the son of Ishmael, or his son Ishmael, who is more or less similar to him. We're speaking about a new son that is fruitful, something else, that is bringing the justice, what we call the court, the very strict laws that is working.
Exact precision.
100% exact. Okay, for example, if I will try to bring it to explain it in a way, we say we have 3 times a day that we are supposed to pray in front of God. The first prayer that we're doing is in the morning. Abraham invented this thing. The second prayer that we have is in the afternoon, okay, before the night, that Isaac invented this thing, this prayer. And the third one is at night with Jacob. Let's leave this aside. What is the first prayer that we have when you wake up in the morning? You're getting life for a new day without any, you didn't do anything. You just woke up, you're opening your eyes like that, and you're busy with everything inside the eyes, and you're not going to wash your face, and you're getting from God another opportunity for another full day. So the first part of the day, this is Abraham. He is saying, we got life, that's it. We didn't need to pay for anything for this life. Isaac is something else. At the end of the day, you're being judged. Have you done something good with your day or not? God gave you in the beginning good, life. What exactly did you did with this day of the life that you got? With the life that you got this day? And this is Isaac. Isaac is the father who is working, as you said it done before, with the exact procedure of the rules. Everything is supposed to be like the rules. And this is Isaac. So here in this chapter, we are moving from the mercy way of life to also put the judgment inside. And this is something that I already showed a bit last week when we've learned verse number 15. Please read verse number 15, Dan. So we said here that the word laughing in Hebrew is containing from 2 words. Okay, tzchok. Laugh is tzchok. Tzchok is 2 words. Tse mehachok. Go out from the law. Okay, when Sarah is getting promise that even though she's very old and she doesn't have anymore the period that like other women have and everything else, she is going to get a miracle, in a miracle way, a son. She is, it's a bit out of the boundaries of the laws. So she's a bit laughing. She's a bit, this situation is, we said that the soul of Isaac is starting to tickling her inside her body. So she's a bit laughing. But on the other side, because we're speaking about Isaac, because we're speaking about Yitzchak, so she is afraid. This is I don't know if any one of you, and I'm wishing you that you won't be in this situation, that you went once to a court because someone, brought you to the court and they're trying to take something out from you. It's not so nice situation because you really don't know what exactly the judge will do there. And you need to stand there, and it's not on your hands, how he's going to interpret the laws and what exactly he's going to put or to decide that you're going to do. And this is the side of the laws. So on one side, she was afraid because this is the soul of Isaac. On the other side, she is a bit, it's overwhelmed. It's outside from the laws. So it's a bit laughing, she's in a weird situation. So this is what we explained last week. Now we're going to continue on. And Abraham is supposed to start to learn how to live with the judge situation. Now, for understanding what is going to happen here, we need to remember that Abraham, in chapter 14, let me open it, please, for a moment. I'm sorry, let me open it. in chapter 14, we mentioned chapter 14 a few minutes ago. In chapter 14, we have a situation where Abraham is capturing all the people of Sodom and Amorah. Remember that? There was a very big fight between chapter 15. Sorry. It's not 14. Yes, it is 14. Okay, we have the big fight between the 4 kings and the 5 kings. And the 4 kings are much stronger and they are managing to capture everybody. And after that, and this is what we said before, in a moment I will show this. First of all, please read verse number 12.
12. And they took Lot and his possessions, the son of Abram's brother, and they departed, and he was living in Sodom.
Fine. And then we also have, please read verse number 13.
13. And the fugitive came, and he told Abram the Hebrew, and he was living in the plain of Mamre, the Amorite, the brother of Eshcol, and the brother of Aner, who were Abram's confederates.
Fine. So first of all, we have here again what I said before. Okay, Abraham the Hebrew. He is the last Hebrew person that stayed here. And Abraham heard that this is the situation, so he managed to fight against them. And let's read verse number 16, sorry.
16, and he restored all the possessions, and also Lot his brother, and his possessions he restored, and also the women and the people.
Fine. Now the next thing will be, who now is earning all of those people? Who is earning them? Who is the king that they owe him their life? Abraham, right? It's very simple. Abraham managed to rescue all of them. So he now is the main master of all of them. This is how it worked in the old days.
In wars, yeah, sure.
The one who is managing, the one who won the battle, he is the king now for everybody. And we see something very naughty from the Sodomite king. Please read verse number 21.
21. And the king of Sodom said to Abram, give me the souls and the possessions. Take for yourself.
Now, he's a bit naughty, because who are you now? You're nothing. You lost the battle. Now, Abraham managed to win everything. But Abraham is answering him something amazing. Please read verse number 23.
23. Neither from a thread to a shoe strap, nor will I take...
Sorry. Start from 22 and 23 and 24, please.
22. And Abram said to the king of Sodom, I raise my hand to the Lord, the Most High God, who possesses heaven and earth. Neither from a thread to a shoe strap, nor will I take from whatever is yours, that you should say, I have made Abram wealthy. Exclusive of what the lads ate and the share of the men who went with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre, they shall take their share.
Okay, so fine. So we have here now a situation where Abraham is giving all of those people. Let's try to understand why Abraham doesn't want them. Why he doesn't want them? After all, we know that Abraham tried all the time to...
Lest he ever say that he made Abram wealthy.
Fine, this is what is written down. This is true. But we have here also another, I will say, bad experience of Abraham. Twice we have bad experience of Abraham. Just a moment. Someone here is still, please mute yourself so it will be easy for all of us, okay? Maybe, is someone? Okay, fine. We have twice that Abraham brought with himself people, and he had, I'm sorry for a moment, of the share. Let's see that.
Participants tab.
I see. Participant, and then what we have here is that, not the chat. Okay, participants.
And then there's a mute all button at the top.
Where is it?
Usually at the top.
Yes, I see. No.
Odepa, if you could mute your microphone. Thank you.
I did it. Fine. So we have twice that Abraham brought with him people, and God told him, don't bring those people with you. So the first time, God told him, don't bring those people with you. This is in chapter 13. Okay, I will show the for a moment in chapter 13. We saw that when we learned it. Chapter 12, sorry, not chapter 14. In chapter 12, Abraham is bringing with him a lot of people.
Right.
Bringing with him a lot of people that, here it is in verse number 5. Please read verse number 5.
And Abram took Sarai his wife and Lot his brother's son and all their possessions that they had acquired and the souls they had acquired in Haran, and they went to go to the land of Canaan, and they came to the land of Canaan.
So we asked how they can bring the souls that they had acquired in Haran. And we said that Abraham brought them under the Shekhinah. Abraham taught them how to live in the right way. But God says to him, leave them in Shechem. I don't want them. I want to bring you to become a new nation. The second time is with Lot. Okay? When Lot went with Abraham to Egypt, and they came back with a lot of things from Egypt also. Okay? Here we see in chapter 10, in verse 10. Okay? Please read verse 10.
And there was a famine in the land, and Abram descended to Egypt to sojourn there because the famine was severe in the land.
Fine. And then we see at the end with everything that is happening there. So please read for a moment verse 16.
And he benefited Abraham for her sake, and he had flocks and cattle and he-donkeys and men servants and maid servants and she-donkeys and camels.
Fine. And then when they're coming back, after they're going from
Egypt.
They're going up from Egypt. Okay. Please read verses. We'll close this. We can close it. Please verses 1 and 2.
And Abram came up from Egypt, he and his wife, and all that was his, and Lot with him to the south.
And Abraham was very heavy.
Heavy with cattle, with silver, and with gold.
Okay, and the next thing that will happen, we see also in Lot, so also Lot, please read verse number 5.
And also Lot, who went with Abram, had flocks and cattle and tents.
And now let's read verse number 7. This is the most important thing.
And there was a quarrel between the herdsmen of Abram's cattle and between the herdsmen of Lot's cattle, and the Canaanites and the Perizzites were then dwelling in the land.
Fine. So now we see the second time that Abraham have a lot of, I will say, people, servants, whatever it is, and there's a fight. So in the first time, God is saying to him, leave all those people aside that you brought with you. Second time, Abraham have a very bad experience with a lot of people around him. So when the king of Sodom is asking him, give me the people and take everything else, Abraham didn't even thought of taking the people. He said to himself, twice, it's enough for me. I don't need to take any more people again with me. But will explain us that when God is saying to Abraham, I'm going to punish Sodom and Amorah, Abraham is feeling a bit of responsibility for those people, because he's saying to himself, maybe if I would have taken them under my umbrella and teaching them how to live correctly, they would have done good things instead of what they are doing today. Starting to realize what is happening in chapter 18, okay? This is what is going to happen now. We know that. I think that you already read it, but I'm going to read it with a bit more notes inside. First of all, the situation is that Abraham is going to hear from God, that God is going to turn over and to kill all the people from Sodom and Amorah. And Abraham is feeling a bit responsible. Why didn't I took them under my guidance when I managed to capture them in those days, in the old days? So maybe I had good reasons why not to take them underneath me, but now it's because of me that they are behaving so badly, because I said to them, I want to be separated from you. You're starting to realize what is happening? This is very simple. Now let's read verse number we need to read a few verses, okay? First of all, let's read 16, 17, 18, and 19 together.
All right, 16. And the men arose from there, and they looked upon Sodom, and Abram went with them to escort them. And the Lord said, shall I conceal from Abraham what I am doing? And Abraham will become a great and powerful nation, and all the nations of the world will be blessed in him. For I have known him because he commands his sons and his household after him, that they should keep the way of the Lord to perform righteousness and justice, in order that the Lord bring upon Abraham that which he spoke concerning him.
So it's interesting to see that God is saying to Abraham, now, I want to remind us all, 2 weeks ago we spoke that there are 3 ways how to read this parsha. One way that the Maimonides is reading it is that it wasn't in reality, it was some sort of a prophet. Okay, so this is a prophet where God is inviting him to be part of the judgment of this city. On the other side, we have not the Maimonides, the Ramban, Rabbi Moshe Bar Nachman, who is saying that this was in a reality. So Abraham saw that they are looking, okay, like in verse number 16, they are looking upon Sodom, and God is saying to Abraham, come, we have some sort of a judgment here, come and start to be part of this judgment. But again, the most important point, chapter 18, we're starting to speak also on the side of the judgment. More than that, let's read again in verse number 19. What is written down there?
19. For I have known him because he commands his sons and his household after him, that they should keep the way of the Lord to perform righteousness and justice, in order that the Lord bring upon Abraham that which he spoke concerning him.
Suddenly, we're also speaking not only about righteousness, but also about
justice.
Justice. Again, I'm saying chapter 18, we're starting to feel that Abraham needs to learn also that with all of the mercy and the kindness and everything else that he's bringing to this world, he needs to realize that there's also the judgment side.
Strict, yeah.
Okay? You can't stay in this world only with the kindness
Hesed.
and chesed and mercy. If you will stay in this world only on this side, the world won't be. But Abraham is still a very important figure here in this thing. So let's read verse number 21. It's a very hard one. Okay? 20 and 21, please.
20. And the Lord said, since the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah has become great, and since their sin has become very grave, I will descend now and see whether according to her cry, which has come to me, they have done. I will wreak destruction upon them, and if not, I will know.
So it's a very in the English, they tried very much to do it much more kindness, or something much more
soft,
clear and soft. Okay. Basically, what God is saying here, He's saying to Abraham, listen, this part of the country is a very hard, very bad behavior part, and I need to go there and to see exactly what is happening. And after we'll see what is happening, we'll decide if it's true what I've heard, so I'm going to destroy them. If it's not true, it's only half true, so I will see, I will know what to do. Now, what we learn here, because God, we know that He knows everything and everything, that is happening in this world, He's teaching us what we call derech eretz. He's teaching us how to behave. You can't judge a place without going to this place and to learn exactly what is happening there. Okay? The judges
deliberate.
Yes, they can't sit down somewhere in the court and without understanding what exactly is happening.
They need the evidence. They need to weigh it. Yeah.
Exactly. You need to understand exactly what is happening. So this is something that God is teaching us. But God is saying to Abraham, listen, we have a situation here that Sodom and Gomorrah are very in a very bad situation. Just to understand, our sages are teaching us a few things that happened there. So those people were very against what we call achnasat orchim. They didn't accept at all to bring anyone from outside to their place. to understand what exactly happened there, I will give the principle and a story. Okay, the story is saying that when someone came there to this country, to this town, the town had everything there. They had fruits, they had everything. So each one of them, of the people in the town, he didn't have money. The one who came, from one place to another place through this town, each one of them gave him a coin of a golden coin. Okay, but on the golden coin, there was also the name of the one who gave it. Okay, for example, if I gave it, so the name there was Chaim Goldberg. Okay, Dan gave it, Dan Berwell. This like this. Now, when this guy who thought that now he's rich guy, now suddenly he have something like 50, 80, 70 coins of golden coins. So he went to the market. He wanted to buy something. When he gave this coin to someone, the man who saw the coin, saw the name on the coin, he said to him, I can't give you anything with this thing. So he said to himself, okay, so I will go out from the town and I will buy it somewhere else. But the guards of the town didn't let him to go out. And this way, this guy starved to death. It's a bit reminding us today that you have places where people don't have food, but there isn't any really good reason why they don't have food. Okay, but basically this is what happened there in Sodom and Gomorrah. Another story, they found one girl who, there was one person there that lived more and more. They didn't understand how, because nobody sold him any food. On the other side, he was living. So they, did a lot of research and everything else, and they found that there was one girl who had a lot of mercy on this guy, and she gave him every night a bit of food. So they took this girl, they put on her honey, okay, and they put her in some place where all the bees came and they
stung her,
bucked her, right, with the honey, and she died. Now, the understanding of this is that, the bee, when it's biting someone, it's also dying, right? Remember that? It's a very simple thing.
Yeah, when it stings, yeah.
And what they basically, our sages are trying to say to us, that this is exactly how Sodom and Gomorrah worked with themselves, the philosophy of themselves. They were so fulfilled with wealthy in this world that they wanted this only for themselves. And it's like someone who, like the bee, who is killing themselves, who are killing themselves to save for themselves everything for themselves. Okay? And this is what happened there in Sodom and Gomorrah. And it was a very hard situation, exactly the opposite of Abraham. So first of all, we're starting to realize why Abraham is going to fight against God, saying to him, hey, don't kill them. Let's try to find a way not to kill them. Because Abraham felt responsibility for their behavior. Abraham is saying to himself, if a few years ago, when they could have been my people, okay, the people that I'm in charge of, I'm the king, and I just send them to this awful king of Sodom and Gomorrah, now I need to try to find a way to save them. And this is what is happening with Abraham, okay? And now we have 3 verses that are playing like a chess. It's like a chess game that Abraham is playing with God. Let's read verse by verse. Please read verse number 23.
23, and Abraham approached and said, will you even destroy the righteous with the wicked?
Where did we saw that God is not destroying all of them together? We already saw this in the history. We can't hear you, Travis.
In the flood.
Exactly. In the flood, we saw already that God is not destroying the righteous Noach with the wicked, with the rest of the world. Okay? So if I'm asking you for a moment, in verse number 23, whom exactly Abraham is trying to save?
The righteous.
righteous. Fair enough till now. Now, why did I say this like a chess game? Let's read for a moment, verse number 24, please.
Perhaps there are 50 righteous men in the midst of the city. Will you even destroy and not forgive the place for the sake of the 50 righteous men who are in its midst?
Now, suddenly Abraham is asking, let's continue on. Don't
Far be it,
say
far
only
be
the
it.
righteous.
Okay, he says in 25, far be it from you to do such a thing as this, to put to death the righteous with the wicked, so that the righteous should be like the wicked. Far be it from you. Will the judge of the entire earth not perform justice?
Just a moment. Let's go back to 24. In 24, we see that suddenly Abraham is saying, because of the righteous of people, save also the rest of the rest of the town.
The unrighteous, yeah.
So he's playing a chess, From the beginning, he's saying, you remember the flood? Save the righteous. And then he's saying, you know what? Not only the righteous, save everybody. And this is the mercy of Abraham, much more. Not only the people that are supposed to be saved. And then in 25, he's going backwards again. And he's saying, do righteous, do justice. First of all, it's the first time that we're starting to hear from Abraham this word. He's speaking about justice. This is not Abraham. Abraham is 24. Abraham is the one who is saying, because of the righteous people, also save the others. But Abraham is starting to realize with this discussion that it's much more complicated, I will say. Our sages are saying it's something very hard, I will say it like that. Abraham is saying to God, listen, if you want this world, so you can't work, if you want the world, so you need to give mercy and you can't be with the justice. If you want to do justice, you can't have the world. You can't have both. This is what Abraham is saying to God. On the other side, God here is trying to teach Abraham that there's also, you need to have something in the middle, I'll say it like that, what we will have that day later on with Jacob. And you can see here that even though Abraham, with a lot of chessmate, okay, with a lot of chess, with a lot of also
persuasion.
Yes, but also with a lot of not only persuasion, strategy, but also not only those. I'm looking for another word. It's with a lot of
care,
and how do you call it in English?
Compromise.
A lot of feeling inside. Okay, a lot of
passion.
Passion. Look, for a moment, the answer in 26. Please, Dan.
And the Lord said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous men within the city, I will forgive the entire place for their sake.
That's it. He is very exact, God. Abraham is playing and this and that and with a lot of passion and everything else. And God is saying to him, if it will be 50, it will be okay. But God already knows that there won't be any 50, right? And from there, we're continuing on. I will explain a bit what is happening here, and we will see it in a moment. Basically, there were 5, like in New York, you have the Queens area, you have other areas. So there was
Brooklyn,
Brooklyn and all those. There were 5 areas in Sodom. And,
boroughs.
in the beginning, Abraham is asking for, in each part, 10 people. When he understands that there are not 10 people for each part, so he's looking for 9 righteous people in each part. Okay, 9 righteous people for each part, and God will be the 10th person, because 10 is a very important number for the Hebrew nation. And then he's going down for only 3 parts of the town, only 2 parts of the town, and those things. The only thing I want to mention is the 45, okay? And Abraham, before we will read 27, please read 28.
Perhaps the 50 righteous men will be missing 5. Will you destroy the entire city because of 5? And he said, I will not destroy if I find there 45.
Okay, so what is 45? Just to realize, what is the numeric number of the word Adam? Adam is human, okay? the numeric number of the word Adam, Aleph, Daled, Mem. Okay, the numeric number is 45. Basically, what Abraham is saying here, I'm sure that there is something here that is related with the human behavior in the right way. 45. And the numbers are continuing with this thing. I won't go inside all of the numeric issues here. This is until the end of this I will say discussion of this debate between Abraham and God. And I want to mention two more or three more points. Okay. First of all, when it says here, Abraham approached. You see here this word approached? In
Yes.
Hebrew, it says the word vayigash. Vayigash is confronting. It's not approach. Approach is a very nice word. Vayigash is confronting and wanting, willing even to fight, a big fight. I will give an example.
Confrontational.
Really confrontational, big one. Okay. Let me give, for example, from Genesis in another place. Just a moment. Let me see that I'm in the right place. No. I lost it. Here it is. Let's read for a moment. No, move on one backwards. I moved twice. Just a moment. When Judah is confronting Joseph, and he doesn't know yet that Joseph is his brother. Okay, he knows that he's
In
like
Egypt, okay.
Okay, so Judah, you see the word, approached him and said, "Please, my Lord, let now your servant speak." Right. So again, this word approached. It's written here vayigash, but we know that Judah confronted Joseph with the willingness of big fighting against him. So this word vayigash that we see also with Abraham here in chapter 18 is that Abraham is willing to confirm to fight against with God. Now, what we see here is some sort of I will call it like that, like we see the court in behind the scenes of the court of God. Okay? We see the debate between the mercy side and the judgment side, and how God is trying to understand what is happening here and to decide what to do. So Abraham is showing the mercy side of the court. But at the end, what will happen is that, please read verse number 33. Done?
33 says, "And he said, Please let the Lord's wrath not be kindled, and I will speak yet this time. Perhaps 10 will be found there. And he said, I will not destroy for the sake of the 10.
Another verse, 33.
And the
please.
Lord departed when he finished speaking to Abram, and Abram returned to his place."
So we see that, they are speaking. It's a very hard discussion between them. Abraham is asking a lot of things. At the end, they're separating. Fine. But God decided what to do. And we know at the end of the story that Sodom and Gomorrah is going to be, destroyed. Another point that I want to mention here. So this is Abraham, who is willing to fight for others. I want also to remind us something that we spoke, the difference between Abraham and Noah. When God is saying to Noah, listen, I'm going to destroy the world. I'm going to bring a flood. Organize for yourself some sort of a place, a boat, okay, that you're going to survive. Noah, instead of trying to
Intercede.
to fight with God, to pray to God, to that all of this world won't get destroyed. No, he's saying to himself, okay, it is a bit chilled here outside. God is going to be very cold with us. So I'm going to bring to myself some sort of a coat and I'm going to get warm. When God is saying to Abraham, I'm going to destroy this part of the country, Abraham is not only fighting for himself, Abraham is fighting also for others. Abraham is saying to God, no, I disagree. Let's try to figure out all sorts of ideas how to help those people. So this is a very big difference between Abraham and Noah. Another very important thing that I want to mention here is how Abraham is describing himself. Okay, he is standing in front of God. He is willing to fight God who created this world, but he has some sort of he's describing himself in this word. Please read verse number 27.
27. And Abram answered and said, Behold, now I have commenced to speak to the Lord, although I am dust and ashes.
Okay, look, what is dust and ashes? Dust is something maybe that you can still gather together. I don't know, it depends. The word dust in English is something else. In Hebrew, it says afar v'efer. Afar is the dust on the ground, but you can still take the dust on the ground and put a plant inside and something will grow up. Ashes is something that you can't do anything with it, okay? Even if you will put ashes in the water, or you will put water in the ashes and you will try to put it to one piece, it won't happen. If you will take, not dust, if you will take the ground, you know, the soil
Clay.
ground, and you will try, it will become some sort of one piece, you know? But Abraham is saying about himself, I'm nothing. I'm the thing that everybody is walking on. I'm really nothing in front of you. So this is also something very important that we are learning here. There is a difference between Abraham, the humility that Abraham is showing us. Moses will show us even a bigger humility. And
so he was bold, but he didn't lose his humility.
Exactly. So those are the things that we're starting to see here. Again, chapter 18 is trying to show us how Abraham, who is in charge of the mercy side and giving, a lot of kindness to the world, giving the world the opportunity or demanding from God to have the opportunity of, if you're giving life, give it without any doubts and don't start to give all sorts of conditions. You gave it, that's it. Don't start to regret what you're giving to us, God. Even though Abraham is starting to deal also with justice, because Isaac is going to come. Isaac is a different person. Isaac is the one who is saying, you need to live in the justice way. But we will speak about Isaac soon, in a moment, okay, another few chapters. But we're starting to realize how Abraham is starting to grow up, I will say, to the level of also a bit of the justice. This is chapter 18. Another 15 minutes, I need to be somewhere else. So I have now 10 minutes for questions, for other things that you want to raise up. This is the opportunity. I'm sorry that tonight it will be a bit short. Okay. Yes, open the microphone. You can speak. Yes.
Okay. I put one in the comments, but I have one I would like to ask about in chapter 18, verse 7, where the herdsman, where Lot's herdsman and Abraham's herdsman are arguing with each other. See, Lot and Abraham, they didn't argue because Abraham taught Lot the doctrine, he taught him the Torah. He taught him how to worship and how to everything. Lot took his herdsman and passed on the word, but didn't pass it on properly, is the way I see it. So it's kind of like in Christianity, you have different doctrines always condemning each other and fighting with each other. And what I see is the herdsmen being the denominations fighting with each other and having to be separated so there can be peace between the two. And it's like two different doctrines of the same religion. You don't get along all the time, but it doesn't mean we're all totally bad.
It's a bit more complicated.
I know it's way more complicated than my mind can go to. But
no, I will say it like that. First of all, we're going to learn about Lot in the next chapter. Okay, we're going to learn about Lot, and we're going to see how he is similar to Abraham, but he is something all totally different. You know, when something is similar to the source, so it's not the source. And this is what we're going to see with Lot. So he was similar to Abraham, and this is what is also written down in the verse that you brought, that Abraham is saying, like, we are brothers, and Rashi is stating there that they were very similar also in their faces, like twins. But he was only similar to Abraham. He wasn't really part of, or he wasn't the same thing. He wasn't the same behavior. And we saw this also by the way that he's deciding to go to Sodom and Gomorrah instead of staying on the side of Abraham. Okay, but Abraham saying to him there, and it's a bit related to the question I asked in the beginning of this lesson. Abraham is saying to him, we are brothers. And unfortunately, till now, what we saw, that brothers are killing one each other. And I don't want to be in this situation. So let's separate one from each other. It's not helping too much to Abraham, because after 2 chapters, when Lot is being captured, Abraham is going and rescuing him again, but Lot is going to a different path, all totally different path. We will learn about Lot in the next chapter. And even though I'm saying all those things, let's not forget that the Messiah is coming from Lot. Okay, we have two nations that are coming from Lot. One is Edom, and the other one is Moab. And from Edom, we have from Ruth, sorry, not Edom, sorry, Ammon and Moab. Ruth, the grandmother of King David, will come from Moab, and Solomon will continue the dynasty of David from Moab, and we have from the other one. We'll speak about this. So there's something there in Lot that will continue with us till the Messiah will come. Even though at this point of time of the story, or of this point of time of history, it's very, very hidden. It's like a seed, inside. So we will learn about Lot, then we'll organize everything, okay?
Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay, I have a question, Rabbi.
Yes,
I have many questions this week, but I know you don't have so much time. But I would like to know, when I hear what you were just saying, that Abraham was applying not only the hesed, the goodness, but also justice, I see it like a process, okay? Do we as Noahide go through the same process? Or we just learn it from him? Or do we go internally through those processes when we're trying to figure out what's going on in the world and how to proceed and how to act and how to think? As Noahide is different. Or we just get the qualities of Noah.
We'll say it like that. We are learning, the reason why we are learning Genesis and why it's written down is because we also as a Noahide need to learn, I will say the exact way how to handle the world, how God is handling the world and how we need to handle the world. The truth is that there are two big, we'll say, there are three, but there are two big nations or religions that came from the outside of the Hebrew religion, okay? One is the Arabic Muslim religion. This is related to Ishmael. And the other one is the Christian religion that is related to Esau. It's coming from Esau. Now, it's going like that. The Arabic people, okay, before they decided to become what we call today the Muslims, the Arabic people, they were very much with the mercy side, like Abraham. Ishmael is just exactly like Abraham. Therefore, for bringing themselves to the right place, they are looking for the justice side, the deen side. This is where they have the saw, and everyone who is against God, they're going to take his head off and all of those things that we see also today. And the Christian world, okay, it started with Rome, and basically in those days, after 300 years of the Rome and everything else, as it's all written down in history, I don't need to teach all of this history. Those people were very with the justice, and they killed a lot of people, and they were very justice people, I will say it like that. This is why they took to restore themselves, to bring themselves to the right education side, they took the mercy side. So each side is trying to take the other side to compromise, to bring themselves to the right place. But we are learning now, especially as a Noahide, okay, we are learning now the right way of the middle way, I will call it like that. What the Maimonides is saying, the middle is calling the middle way. Not too much of this side, not too much of that side. Till now, we've learned only about Abraham. Abraham is one very mercy side. Now we're starting to see that Abraham also have the beginning, the seeds, the starting of the justice side that will be in a much more clear side with Isaac. The Hebrew nation have three fathers: the mercy side, Abraham, the justice side, Isaac, and the middle side of Jacob. But we need to learn it. We're in the middle of Genesis. We're in the beginning of Genesis, okay? We just finished 18 chapters from 50. So it will take us another 2 or 3 years, but we will manage, okay? But again, we need to
this
learn.
is a very, very big lesson that Hashem was introducing to the world three characteristics, the Hesed characteristic through Abraham, and the Din characteristic through Isaac, and then there was a synthesized characteristic or trait that was introduced to the world through Jacob, and I think that's where Rabbi is taking this lesson. And if we understand the greatness of Hesed and also its opposing side of Din, and how Isaac embodied that, and then we see the synthesizing of the two in Jacob, it gives us a clearer picture of what Hashem is doing with the nation of Israel for the whole world abroad.
Yeah, it's clear what Hashem is doing with the people of Israel. But what I'm saying is us nowadays with Christianity and what the rabbi just explained, the Muslim world and everything. So what do? Do we have to go through that same process that the patriarchs went through as Noah?
No, we need to learn from them. But again, we have. If you will see the book, okay, of the Brit Shalom, you will see that it is teaching, okay, the middle path. I will call it like that. The path that is, in the right way. There is a verse in Cheskel that is saying that it's called in Hebrew, Hod HaKerach HaNorah. I don't remember exactly the verse in English, okay? Hod HaKerach HaNorah is, think about this like that. The person, the clown who is going on the rope, up there in the heaven, on the rope, with a big stick that he won't fall out, not to this side and not to that side. So it's a very fearing situation. On the other side, usually they know how to do that because they trained themselves. So we're training ourselves to be in the right side, not too much on this side of the mercy, not too much on the side of the justice, something in the middle. But again, it's something that we are learning how to do that. So the Brit Shalom book is a way to skip, I will call it like that. Ask Frank, okay, he's sitting with us. It's a way to skip. If you're learning this book, if you're reading this book, it's 2 hours read, not more than that. If you're reading this book and you're learning it, we learned it also for a very long time here in this class. When you're learning this book, you will find the way to balance your life in the right way. Not too much of this side, not too much of that side. This is the secret of life. And this is what we need to do. Also as Noahide. Now, as Noahide, I will say the demands are less, okay, than the demands that we have from the Jewish people. I will tell you the secret. The Hebrew people have less demands than the priest in the Hebrew people, okay? So there are also all sorts of levels inside here. But still, we all need to behave in the right way. We are all walking on this. Rabbi Nachman Breslov said it, okay? כל העולם כולו גשר צר מאוד. All the world is a very narrow bridge. You need to go on the bridge with a stick, not to pull yourself too much to
like a tightrope walker.
Yeah. I will give you a simple example, okay? Lizette, you live in the South America side, right? Okay.
And the Caribbean.
In the Caribbean. So Caribbean is much better place, okay? But we know that
Too humid.
There were a lot of Nazi German people that killed a lot of Jewish people who ran away after the war towards South America. And who helped them? The priest from the Christian world. Okay? Now, you ask yourself, this is really a mercy? If you're taking someone who killed a lot of people, 2,000, 3,000,
they're enabling
700, and you're helping them to go to, to survive. This is not mercy. This is taking the stick too much to one side.
Yeah.
Okay? It's an example. It's a real example that we have in this world. So we need to learn how to live right, in the right way, with a balance. As Michaela, Angelica is here, she loves to say this word, the balance word. But this is because she was, for a very long time also working with people that lost their balance, right? So she's using this word also. But it's okay, this is exactly the word. But now we're starting to learn. Abraham, that was on the side of only the mercy side, he's starting to learn also, okay, the justice here is coming to this world. Isaac is coming.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay.
Beautiful.
There's another question here in the room, but I won't be able to answer this now. It's related to the nations of the Rebecca nations, and we're starting to deal about Jacob and what happened there. It's a very, very big story. We'll learn it. Bezrat Hashem. Okay. Yes, exactly. With the Charlie Chaplin. Exactly. Look at it's true, but it's not only Charlie Chaplin, it's everybody. We are all on this situation, okay? With Rabbi Nechman Breslov.
But that's our job, right? Our job is to learn from you, Israel, the chosen people. That's what the Noahide job is to accept your teachings on how to become balanced, to be accepting of people of other,
and make the world a better place in the process.
Definitely. That's what it's all about, the perfection of creation, which is, it's his creation, and we're the ones that are imperfect. But his chosen people have been chosen. They're our leaders. We're supposed to take the hem, like we've taken the hem of this Rabbi Goldberg, which is teaching us how to balance, how to be who we're supposed to be, because they've been chosen. This whole existence is for us, not for them. They're already in the new heaven and the new earth when it is created. They've been chosen. We haven't. It is about getting us to that point.
And I appreciate today how he talked about how Abraham approached Hashem, and often in Rabbi Goldberg's messages or emails, he's always got at the bottom, the quote from Joshua, to be bold and very courageous. And I like to encourage Noahides to be bold in this world. If you want to make it a better place, be bold and step forward and be very courageous, and life can be full.
This is true. This is why I took also this verse, and really it's one of the things that I'm always putting underneath my part of the signature of my emails is this verse, because we need to understand, to realize the balance. And I'm going back to the question I asked from the beginning, and we're going to give a lesson about this also. It's also a question of the balance between man and God, man and his fellow man, and man and himself. How to balance your life. This is the most important thing that this the Bible is giving us, or the words of God is giving us. If you ask yourself, what is the difference between the Torah of Moses or the Torah of Job or the Torah of Bilam or the Torah of Jethro? Jethro is expert between man and his fellow man, the judgment issue. This is Jethro. Job is expert with things between man and himself, with all of the things you're reading now, the Job, so you can see that. and with all of the things that is happening inside himself, with the things that he's suffering. The suffering thing is between man and himself, and Bilam is expert with the man and God. And the most important thing of Moses,
Is the balance.
It's the balance between those three things, as we know also with the commandments of the 7 commandments, the 7 main commandments. We spoke about this more than once, and if you want, we can remind this again. And this is also what is happening in Genesis. I'm going to show this also, but you can start to think about this.
Beautiful.
I'm really sorry that today I need to finish. I'm already fairly late to my
Shalom.
the thing.
Well,
So,
thank you, Rabbi. Hashem willing, are we on for next week? Is your schedule?
Yes. Of course.
Well, we've done our daylight savings, so we're all on the same usual time. So, well,
Fine.
blessing to you, Rabbi Goldberg. We're always thankful that you do take the time, and we wish you all the best there in Jerusalem and Israel and everything that you're putting your hands to. We just pray that Hashem give you a good mazal, and that you have a fruitful.
You're blessing me. All of you be blessed for this week and for good life. Bart, good to see you also. Jack, Wendell, Italo. Wow. We see everybody. Frank, I mentioned you already. The England people, we spoke. That you don't know English, we already spoke about this more than once. Everything is fine. Okay, Linda. Okay.
All right,
Bye,
so we're going to sign out for now because Rabbi Goldberg's got to go. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, folks, and catch that Torah wave with the Noahide World Center. Thanks for coming. We'll see you next week, same time. Bye for now.
Bye.